dedicated to promoting inspiration, hope, and giving a healthy dose of God's love for every aspect of life. Rachel is a seasoned inspirational enthusiast who uses witty commentary and biblical truths for real-life solutions, offers business strategies, health and wealth tips, and self-love care. Unlock the power tools to dig deeper, discover your untapped potential, and live your best extraordinary life. Here's your host, Rachel Love.
And welcome to Inspired by Love. I'm Rachel Love. I am so delighted to have one of my girlfriends here. She's a business owner. She is a female boss killing the game. She's also the newly installed president of Women Encouraging Women. And I'm going to let her tell a little bit about herself. Welcome, Rene Hawkins.
Thank you so much. Woo! So glad to be here. Thank you so very much. It's such an honor. My name is Rene Hawkins.
Yes.
And I have been a business owner for 13 years now. And I'm very excited to say that because I came from corporate America. And it was definitely a change, especially because I started as what they consider a scratch agent. So basically meaning that I started my business from scratch. There were no prior clients. So every client that I now have, I earned.
Wow.
From hustling, from going door to door, from talking to everybody that I know. And so I am very happy to say that I'm still turning that key every day because I've just been blessed through so many challenges, because right when I opened up my agency is when the housing market crashed, and we went through a really time in terms of a lot of people who were also in the business with me and started with me. Everyone did not make it through. So it really takes a lot to have that perseverance and the strength in order to continue on and to just be able to every day try to gain more clients. So it was definitely a lesson that I wasn't prepared for.
Right.
So
I'm just
a lot of faith and prayer.
So right now, this is 2021, if anyone is listening, and we just experienced, and we still are, in a global pandemic.
Correct.
So how does the experience of 2008 compare to 2020?
I would say it was definitely a huge difference, because even though in 2008 it was a terrible time in terms of people losing their homes and things like that, there still was face to face.
Yes.
I still could go meet with the family. I still could have a family come meet with me and have a conversation and talk. And the difference with the 2020 was that it was like a shutdown. There was like this silence of, no communication, no touching, no talking, no. And it was definitely a huge difference. Now, I will say this. I will say that the difference was 2020 was one of my greatest years as an agent. I did so much in life insurance that everyone was amazed that how in a pandemic going on, that was like so huge. So I would say that was something major where people were saying, I can't right now, I can't right now, I can't right now in 2008. In 2020, they were like, Rene, I need you.
Yeah.
I need you.
Yeah.
I need you, because people slowed down. They had time to go, where are my policies? What kind of life insurance? Do I need to change my beneficiaries? Do I have enough? Is my house insured?
Let me interject right there, because that's real juicy, Rene. I don't want you to rush over that. Let me just introduce, because, we jump right into the conversation, which I love. But I just wanted to set it up because this is Women's History Month, and we're calling it Her Story. You are sharing your story, your journey, your obstacles, and things that you had to overcome. So you've kind of already given us a little tidbit on how 2008 was compared to 2020. Now we understand that this happened to every single person. This wasn't an isolated group of people. This was everybody on the earth affected by this global health crisis. So now that we've been in it in a year, what aspects or what certain things can you direct people to start looking at? Because as you and I know, we've all lost someone. We all know someone that we've lost and loved.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's the unfortunate part of your business. But the good part of your business, is you are not selling a policy. You're giving them assurance. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Giving them assurance.
Yes.
You're reassuring them if something should happen to your life, I got you. And as a friend, you reached out to me when I had a sudden cardiac arrest. You know what I'm saying? So it's like to hear a reassuring voice on the other side of the phone after I've just experienced, devastation. It's like I have someone, a neighborhood person to call.
Correct.
Right? I don't even want to say the jingle because then I would give it away, but I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that you're in our lives, that someone knows someone that says, hey, I know someone, Rene Hawkins Agency. So Rene, please tell us some tips that people can really understand right now, if something should happen, what do they do? What are the first steps?
Okay, so I want to say this too, especially to women. So over the years, and I think that 2020 was also a wake-up call for a lot of ladies, because too, like you said, we lost some loved ones. I lost my brother-in-law and my sister, who was quote unquote necessarily not in the loop as much as we would hope. And say that I mean, like a lot of times we tend to say, oh, okay, my husband handled, or he took care of the insurance. And then when something happened, or there was a divorce or a separation, or even a passing away, it was like, okay, what do I do now? So, we're not really sure. And I would say that probably one of the biggest things is to make sure that your beneficiaries are in order.
Okay. That's number one.
That's number one.
Yes.
Please make sure your beneficiaries are in order. And it's very important because a lot of times, unfortunately, a prior spouse or a prior, girlfriend or someone else is on that policy as the primary beneficiary. And you're sitting there talking to someone saying, I can't speak to you because you're not the beneficiary on this policy that was started back a ways ago. So I've had a few of those situations because
oh my goodness.
What people sometimes don't realize is that you can only speak to the beneficiary on the policy.
Wow.
And so to have to tell a new wife or a new girlfriend that she's not on this policy that was written is disheartening. So one thing that I try to make sure that I'm doing is saying, let's check those beneficiaries yearly, because things change. They change. That's number one. Along with that is to make sure that your policy that you may have started, in your 20s or your 30s, is that company still viable?
Yes.
With everything that's gone on, so many companies go bankrupt. People are still sending money the same way they've always sent money and have no idea. It's just going into oblivion because they have not pulled out that policy to review it.
Now that's really rich right there. That's rich. See, that will help save someone's life. You know,
Absolutely.
the unfortunate thing, we had a situation in our family when the person passed. The policy was only for accident and
See,
dismemberment,
correct. Yeah.
and it was just like what?
Mm-hmm.
So say that again. Say that
Yes.
again for the ladies, because that's crucial.
Yes. Just making sure that the company is viable. And to piggyback on what you said, Rachel, just making sure it is life insurance. And that's it. Life insurance. And please be sure that you are reviewing that policy, because I also had a situation where I had somebody who turned 70,
Mm-hmm.
and the wife passed away, and they didn't have their insurance with me. They had it with another company, but they had their auto and homeowners policies with me. So they just called me up and said, "Hey, Rene, I'm looking at this policy. Is this right?" And what happened was the policy had ended, and she passed away after it had ended, because we need to pay attention to the age.
Okay.
So make sure the policy
Ooh,
goes to age.
it's juicy, Rene. It's juicy. I don't want to miss nothing. You see me with my notebook and my pen.
Yes, I see. Yes.
I'm writing, because what you're saying is changing people's lives right now. People are living longer, right?
Yes, that's exactly correct.
So you're not really paying attention to your policy.
No.
So you're saying we need to go check the policy. And if you have parents, check their policy as well.
I was getting ready to say, check your parent policies, because they did the right thing and got life insurance. But the question is, it was probably a long time ago. So the policies were shorter back then, in terms of the, how long the person would live. So they made those numbers are different than they are today. Today might say 95, but back then might say 70. So you definitely check your parents' policies, because they'll say, you ask the question on the surface of, do you have life insurance? Oh, yes, I do. But I take that further. I'm asking, so what age does your policy go to? When's the last time you checked your beneficiaries? When's the last time you made a call or checked on the company? And then it's like, oh, let me do that. And then I get calls back, because they find startling news.
Here's a question that I have that I've been thinking about. Now that people are pivoting, say you were working for the county for 15 years, and now they furloughed your position. And so you may not be going back to the same position. Correct. You may be looking for, maybe you're good in accounting. Now I'm asking you, how do women or people that are interested, even men, they may say, you know what, I may want to look at this life insurance. Can you help them? Yes. And to piggyback on your comment, Rachel, is that's very interesting, because one of the questions I ask is when they say, yes, I have life insurance through my job, Rene. And I say, okay, so my next question is, okay, now with everything that's going on, we've seen some positions in the past where you would have never expected them to furlough someone. People who work for the county and some of these industries that you never would have expected them to furlough someone or to lay people off. So I say, what do you have outside of your job? So if that were to happen, you still have life insurance in place. And so another conversation that has come up more often, and we're having some different conversations, because now people are more aware that, I would have never thought this company would have furloughed me, or they're going to cut down now because working from home, they can do it with less people. Whatever their philosophy is on that affects you in terms of company benefits. Exactly. The long term. You say long, you always say, write your short term and your long term goals. Yes. This is for that long term goal. This goals, yes. So, Rene, before we go any further, if someone happens to be listening to the podcast Inspired by Love, I
Yes.
want them to be able to reach out to you. How can people find you?
So they can go to Instagram. It's at Rene Hawkins Agency. And it's easy to find me because my Rene is spelled with one E. It's Rene Hawkins Agency. And that's what makes me unique. You look up Rene Hawkins with one E, and you're like, oh, there she is. I'm right there. So my office is here in Gardena. My phone number is 310-436-0022.
Awesome. So to continue this conversation, because we don't just want to help women, we want to help families in general.
Absolutely.
Because the other side of this is generational wealth.
Correct.
So how do you instill and help families? Because now, are you meeting with people? Are you still doing Zoom?
I do. It depends on the individual, because some people need to come and like see me.
Yeah.
Some people, so we're of course following all the guidelines. We have the screen and the mask, and we do that piece. Some people we do through the like a Zoom type of conversation like you and I are having, and the conversation is definitely around making sure. So part of what I say and part of my conversation is we're talking about your family, because what I always stress is that it's not about you.
Yes.
It's about who we're leaving behind.
Right.
And so a lot of my focus, one thing that you will hear if you ever talk to my customers, is that I'm constantly pushing policies that build money.
Yes.
So yes, we all start off with the initial, term policy where you're paying like $17, $20 a month, which is excellent because it's what I consider a start. You're just starting off, starting to learn about life insurance and how it works. But one thing that I talk to parents about, I talk to my young people about, is let's get a policy started while you're 20. And it's going to be, $30, $40 or even $100. And you're building money into that life policy, because if you need it, that's the nice thing. It has a living benefit. You can tap that money and do what you want with it. And the majority of the time, it's not something that they're going to say, wait a minute, where did Rachel get that money from? That's between insurance company and Rachel. So that doesn't go any further unless you're doing some different types of policies. But the general policies that build money, I have my customers tap into money all the time.
Are they taking a loan on the money that's inside, or the face value of the policy? Okay.
Yeah, so it depends, because some policies build dividends, so they do a little bit of both, or they let their dividends build up and they just take the dividends. So it depends on the circumstance. Like I've seen people say, hey, you know what, down payment on a house, down payment on a car, or something as simple as prom. Paying for prom. This is prom time, and parents are like, everything going on, Rene, can I tap into that life policy that I've been building up since my little one's been since they were little? And that's what I try to push. Get it in, parents, while they're small. Even for yourself, get it in while they're small, because ultimately what I normally will do is, besides having that conversation, if it's something feasible, if it's something, because I always want to make sure it fits in your budget.
Yes.
So I tell everyone, if you come and you sign up with life insurance with me, I don't let you cancel. So, because I don't want to be the one to tell your family, you came to me after the fact and said, oh, you know what, I can't. No, so we're going to find something that fits in your budget, and then we'll work along the way, because I want to be able to tell your family, you know what, your mom, your dad, your grandmother, your uncle, your aunt took care of you.
Yes. See, I love that, Rene. This is a conversation that you can just have with a friend. It's non-threatening. It's not like I'm being forced or coerced or scared. I'm scared to death, so I got to get this policy. You know, it's like, know the facts. We're asking, know your status. You wear a mask to protect yourself.
Correct.
Protect your family.
Protect your family. That's right. And that's just, and I think what you said is perfectly right, is that's why we see the success and why we saw the success we saw last year was because we were sitting down and saying, look, what are we going to do? What can we work out for you? I know you want to do this over here, but let's at least put something in place right now. That's that difference. I believe that, because I want my community to be able to start changing our environment. I want to say in terms of, there are certain communities, we don't have to have these conversations because it's already set in place. There's Rene, how much does it cost? Here you go. There's no conversation and we move forward. And I will say that what happened last year in 2020 with the pandemic woke up a lot of people within our community, a lot of women. I've just gotten, tons of calls, having several conversations, getting coverage on their kids, coverage on parents, coverage on themselves. People are taking care of business.
Now that's another question, Rene.
Okay.
So as an individual, I can insure, say, my children, I can insure my mother, I can insure, who else can I insure?
So I have some people, like I have someone who, has nieces and nephews, and they know that their sister can't afford it right now. She's a single mom. So Aunt is paying for the policies that are going to build money for them.
Oh, yes.
So it's more like she's owning it, but she has it. So for each of them, as they get older, when they need it, it's there for them.
So tell me this, when do you have your seminars? Because the community definitely needs this information. This is vital. This is vital to our community. This is our longevity. This is generational wealth, how it's passed down. It has to be taught and educated. We have to educate our community and one another, because there's a lot of things that we just don't know. No one's told us.
Very true. Very true. And so one thing I was doing, and I know I need to start that back up again, as I was doing Facebook Lives, where I was giving tips on Fridays.
Yes.
Just little things that we needed to pay attention to, or you might not have known. And I need to continue that and get back on board with that, because I felt it was very impactful. I got a lot of calls, a lot of people saying, hey, can you talk to my brother? Can you talk to my sister? Can you talk to my mom? So I definitely know that it's needed, especially as people start to get what they want to say is normal and people get busy again. So we want to capture this while people are still, at home, slowing down and having some of those conversations. Like you said, it's one of those things that it seems to be a very tough conversation for our community. When we talk about life insurance, or we're talking about somebody passing away, that's not a conversation that we want to have. But from what I'm seeing now, as this is kind of starting to turn, is from that pandemic, put us in a different perspective.
But because it affected so many people and so quickly, it's not like it's not like you had a policy or I was thinking about a policy. Now it's like, oh, it's too late. You gone.
Yes.
It's like, oh God, come on.
Exactly right.
We don't have time to play. This is just my own disclaimer. Get on it. And I'm even putting myself in that, because I changed and I'm like, okay, and I'm going to make some changes. I'm going to give you a call, Rene, because I got some questions. I got questions. So I definitely, my heart is to help our community. And it is to definitely punctuate what you're saying, that it is vital. It's vital for your health, as well as when you're gone.
Yes.
Who's getting your stuff? I want my stuff to be in my kids, my family. I don't want it to be in probate. I don't want it to be said, Yeah, they got a house and everything, but they didn't have no well, child.
Yes, absolutely. And that is an area too that we, or what I get pushed back on is, we'll sell the house. Well, by the time you sell the house, you still needed to bury your mom or your dad. Or what about that part? What are you going to do today? I understand about, and that is also a mindset that we need to work on, because I get that pushback about, and I don't know why we push back about life insurance.
Are they saying that they don't need the insurance?
They're saying like, we'll just sell the house, or I'll get cremated. All of that still costs money. Yeah. So,
especially now, and
it's,
you know,
yeah,
and I know you know this,
yeah,
but a friend of ours lost a mother.
yes,
The mortuary said, okay, first of all, it's a long wait, two
yes,
months.
yes,
So what are you doing with the body for 2 months?
right. Look, basically, you're reserving your time, because that's what this is. And that's another thing, is that the mortuary, I'm not being mean when I say this, that they're not really concerned about that you didn't have a policy in place. If you want this service to happen when it's happening, or whatever the case is, we need that money. And that is becoming more and more prevalent. They're looking for that policy. They're looking to make sure that they do receive payment. And it breaks my heart when I take and I see that our community is trying to figure out what they can do. So instead of being able to mourn because things were put in place, you can't do that, because you got to try to figure out how you're going to get, every little thing costs money. And we don't think about that on the surface. We just easily say, oh, I'll just get cremated. All of that still costs money. There's still some items that are going to cost money while you're trying to do, something else, or figure out what you're going to do. And I think that it's just a personal mission of mine, and which is, I called it, when I was working in corporate America, for whatever reason, it seemed like every corner, I had people come to my house asking for money for life insurance. And God just kept throwing these bricks at my head. Like, are you paying attention? And, I was like this, we can go on vacation where we want to. We got our car, we got our house, we got the kids. And he kept throwing these bricks. It seemed like everybody, can you help us out? Here's a car wash. And I was going, wow, 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 wow. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm going to take the test. I need to help my community.
Yes.
And you will hear me talk to you about life insurance first before I talk to you about your car. That's the first question I'm asking. So Rachel, where's your life? Before I'm asking you about your car or your house, because
none of that matters.
Yeah, at the end of the day, right. We need to make sure that your family is being taken care of. Some people tell me, oh, Renee, my young people say, oh, I'm too young.
Yeah.
It's Miss Renee, I'm too young. I'm like, no.
Did COVID change all that for them? Did COVID change their mind about that?
Yeah, a little bit, but I had somebody today tell me they were too young. So
my Lord, my God. No, yeah. I'm going to help you market, because yes, I need to see you. I need to see you out there. I need to see people packing your office and at least getting the information.
Exactly.
Make wise decisions and choices. Yes. They have choices, but at least here's one person that I can vouch for, that I've known for about 10, 15 years now. So yes. Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. It's awesome. It's what you said. It's when you have to deliver, or when you hear the bad news, I feel so much better when I'm saying, here you go, Miss Smith. Here's $100,000. Your husband took care of you. Here you go, Miss Brown. Your kids took care of, whatever that is, being able to deliver that check versus, oh, Renee, we meant to call you back. I know we were, you know what? I got busy.
Oh.
And then they have to call and say, you know what, my mom got sick and but because this is me, and I tell people, I am going to chase you about life insurance until you threaten me. And then I'm still going to say, can I call you in a couple months? So,
don't let them off the hook.
I'm going to still ask you. I know you threatened me. And they'll say, Renee, don't ever call me again. But can I call you in a couple months? Okay. Right. Because I'm going to chase you because I know the importance, because I'm the one that's delivering that check.
It's so
because
important.
You're not here. It's for your family. It's for those who you are leaving.
Yes. Because we think we have more time. I think that's my whole thing is, I've personally experienced it. I buried a husband, it's like, and now that we've been in this pandemic, no one could have told us.
Correct.
This is what we were going to deal with.
Yes.
And had you had an inkling, if someone told you in 2019,
right,
maybe they didn't say pandemic, but they said there's some horrific things that are going to come down the pipe. Right. So save all your money. Try to protect yourself as much as you can, because there's going to be lots of flus and colds and sicknesses, and people breathe on you. I'm just thinking, would I have taken that seriously? Because I can remember back in January, I was working downtown LA, and I remember seeing these Asian people walking down the street, Pan Asian, and they had on masks. And I thought, well, why they got on masks? It didn't really, I just
didn't register.
That was January.
Right. That's right.
And then March, we're shut down.
Exactly. And we're shut down. And I hate to say that, I don't know that, because people are in the hub. You might have just been like, okay, you know what, I need to work, because that's what okay, Renee, I'm gonna call you back. But I don't do that. You could tell me that, I'm still gonna call you, I'm gonna text you, I'm gonna email you. If I have to, I'm gonna knock on your door. So it is that hustle. We're working and got to get the kids from school. We got to do homework, got to go to sports, and we just let time just starts going. And then something happens and we're like, oh my goodness, they need help with my uncle's service, because we didn't make that call back, because we didn't double check. And one key is that why I push and push and push while we're young, while our kids are young, is because we tend to get ailments. And when we get ailments, we can still qualify at times for life insurance, but it costs a lot of money, and then it makes it unaffordable. Want to make sure, that's why it's so important for us to start, like you said, really talking to our young people, because we don't know what that could come in the future. Both of my boys, I got life insurance when they were born. What happened when they were both 16 and 17? They got epilepsy. What? So if I would have waited and said, oh, let me try to get up that, but I don't have to worry about that. It's locked in.
They're locked.
They have this policy all their life. They can add money to it whenever I turn it over to them. So they can keep that one policy, and I'm still paying like they were 3 years old.
Wow. And see, that's a good thing. I want to interject something here. So while people are listening to this podcast, and now their minds are thinking, because we're still in the pandemic. We're not out yet. We're not out the woods, but we're starting to open up slowly but surely. But now is the time to pull out that policy, because that's what I want to do. I want to pull my policy out and ask you, now, does it cover this, and this? Or you can tell me, did you consider this, and this?
Yes.
I think that's even better. If you have a policy, call Renee.
Yeah, still, I'll sit with you. You don't have to be insured with me. I'll still sit down with you and say, let's just make sure, which happens all the time, which is how, unfortunately, some of the people I talk to are like, oh my goodness, so I've been paying on this policy and it's gone. Because I'm saying, pull it out. Let's at least get together. Let's at least sit down And then we're sitting down, and then I'm running a quote, and they're 70 years old. They're on a fixed income, they've retired. So then we say, okay, well, can your kids pay? Can we? So we're trying to still do something to put something in place. And a lot of times I will say the kids do, you know what, my mom called us, so we got to kick in, Renee. So what do we need to do? We're going to have to pay.
Exactly. So that's what we want to do. Make it affordable. What can you afford? Let's start there. What can, so you throw out some numbers. What can you afford? Can you afford this? Can you afford this? Okay. Well, since you said you can afford this, and in the person's mind, they have to say, okay, I can let the new Jordans go. I don't got to get hair done every week, maybe every 2 weeks or once a month. We have to make concessions.
Correct.
Because life is precious.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So that's what we have the conversation around. We say, okay, let's take a look at everything. So I would say, Rachel, okay, the house, okay, we got the car. Okay, so what's at risk? And here's the thing. If you're like, you have your beautiful kids, and so I would say, okay, Rachel, if something were to happen to you and we needed to replace your income for the next 10 years, what's that? Right? And you might say, oh, Renee, that's, $1 million. And so that's where we'll start. I'm looking for, if something were to happen, will your family still be able to thrive? If you have your kids are older like mine, but if they were in private school, do I now, because I didn't have a policy or I didn't make enough in place, my kids have to, come out of private school with their friends, or we have to move. We have to do these different things because we didn't have that kind of in-depth conversation. Because I could say, oh, Rachel, here, let me give you this 100,000, but really helpful to you and your family because I'm focused in on, she can only pay $17. So I'm not counting your money.
Yes.
I'm gonna say, let's talk about all of it, and then say, now let's bring it in and see how we might have to do some chunks. Like we might have to do this chunk this year. Yes. And then next year you say, hey, Renee, you know what we talked about, that other 500,000, I'm ready to do it.
Yes. I love it. I love it, Renee. I'm thinking, you can just have like more Zoom calls and we do an invitation. Like I have my winner circle, and I would love for you to come on and talk to the women on there about, just advantages of having insurance and just building that nest egg, because people want, now we're in our 50s. So it's like, I want to live. I want to travel. I want to do some things. I don't want to just be working and that's it.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
So, oh my goodness, Renee, this conversation was just spectacular. Do you have any other tips you would like to leave the listeners with?
I would say too that what I'm seeing more of, like yourself, is your business owners. And this is they also definitely, a lot of women are starting new businesses, men too, but a lot of ladies are starting new businesses, and just making sure that from an insurance standpoint, that all of those items, we go through like a little checklist just to say, hey, do you have coverage? Because you may have an office policy, you may have, but okay, so what happens if you send your employee to run to the bank and they get into an accident? Do you have a, employer's non-owner policy in place for the car? Like, what is that? What are you talking about?
Okay.
If something were to happen, if somebody said, you know what, Rachel, you sexually harassed me, do you have a, employer's, a liability policy? Because your business office policy doesn't cover that, or it may not cover enough of it. Because what if they decide to sue you for 500,000 and your policy covers 100,000? So it's some of those things that we have to put in place, because unfortunately, not everybody we hire is, going to be that person that we're going to keep or maybe a fit for us. So people try it all.
They try you, Renee. And yes, I'm just a new business last year's officially. So there's a lot of things that I'm going through to make sure that I'm legit. I'm covered on every end, So I have a number of people that I can definitely call to say, Rene, let's schedule something so you can talk to them, because this by far, it's like, if we can have these conversations quarterly, monthly, I think this is what we're looking for. You can just say, let me silence all this noise, the internet, the social media, who, what, where, reality TV. Who cares about that?
Yes. And it's interesting because, let me say this too, is that there were rumors about, matter of fact, I wrote a lady yesterday for life insurance because a prior company found out that she had tested positive for COVID. And she, of course, went back, got well, got tested, her test said negative, but they denied her life insurance. So do not believe, check for yourself. So she gave me a call, and I was like, that does not, we paid over $1 billion, unfortunately, last year for people who had contracted COVID and passed away from it. So there are companies, I know our company for sure, so I'm going to go ahead and say it, that's State Farm Insurance.
State Farm, woo, woo, woo.
We pay claims, because it was a rumor about how if you contract COVID and you already had a policy that we weren't going to pay. That is so untrue. We paid over $1 billion for 3,900 cases of people who passed away from COVID. So don't let that deter you from inquiring or finding out or making sure that you have life insurance in place. And if you run to a company that will not write you, you give me a call, because we will.
There you go. That's a guarantee. Okay. You take that to the bank.
That's right.
Take that to the bank. Run and tell that. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
So we definitely want the community protected. We want to make sure that people are getting the right information that's disseminated from the source.
It themselves. Exactly.
We just have to squash any kind of rumors, because that rumor mill is awful.
Scary. It makes it scary. So people will tell you, I have it in place, and they don't, because listening instead of asking and finding out for yourself, just like you said.
Well, like I said, we go to the source. The source is right here. You got a question, she got answers.
Yes.
She ready to take your call.
That's right.
Get that number again.
It's 310-436-0022.
Well, I already got you on speed dial, so.
That's right. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Well, Rene, I am so grateful for your time, first of all, for you just allowing yourself, availing yourself to just come on and just educate us and just really give us the tea. You spilled all the tea. You know, you didn't hold no secrets back. You showed us, it was like a show and tell, so it's like, if we were concerned or worried about life insurance or about, growing our family, making sure our family is protected, you have given, I got a whole list on my paper. So, I'm just saying there's good information out there. And if you want to know more, please reach out to Rene Hawkins Agency. You can follow her on Instagram. Yes. And does it have your picture on there?
Yes.
It has your picture. So that's very important. And before you go, I wanted to ask you, and this is not really your agency related, but it's just business in general. So new business owners, they can also come to you.
Absolutely.
For protection for the business.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing. So Yeah, we're gonna set some things up. I can see 2021. If you said 2020, you did absolutely amazing.
Yes,
We're looking
absolutely.
to double that.
Yes,
Double that.
I
So,
received that too. Thank you.
well,
Yeah.
give them three tips to take away. Three
Oh,
tips to take away.
just generally or for
General,
business?
yeah, anybody. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 3 tips. Review your policies. And I mean your car coverage, your homeowner's policy, your life insurance, if you have a disability policy, whatever policy that you have, review it. You need to review and make sure, because a lot of us have we own property, we've acquired businesses, we no longer rent, so our car coverage is may not be at the levels that they should, because let me tell you this, people are happy to sue you in the state of California, if you didn't know that already. And let me say this, and if you do not have enough coverage on your auto policy and you don't have the right coverages or the right policies in place, I can tap into your savings. I could put a lien on your house. I can tap into your retirement. I can garnish your wages for at least 10 years in the state of California to get the amount that you didn't have enough coverage for. So
my Lord, my God.
We want to make sure that we are reviewing our coverages. That is so imperative. I find so often that we think we have coverage because we allow someone else, and I'm speaking to other representatives of other companies, don't let someone just say, just only thinking about the amount. Because I could give you $1,000 deductible and all you heard was, okay, cool, it's $150 a month. I can afford that. And then something happens and the claims adjuster's telling you, okay, Rachel, so, your damages were, $5,000. So minus your $1,000 deductible. And you're like, what? $1,000? I can't afford $1,000. Well, now your car's in the shop. So where's your $1,000 so that you can get your car out of the shop? So make sure you're reviewing your coverages. Don't let someone just give you and tell you because they're going to talk and they're going to tell you some stuff because they're trying to get to that price to just tell you your business. And then they're going to send you off. And then when something happens in a claim, they're going to be like, call the claims department. So very important that you making sure you're reviewing your coverages and making sure that you know what those coverages are and what they mean. Let me see, that's another good one. What do I see more often? And then and I already talked to you about the life insurance and what to do with that. But in business owners, make sure that you are having discussions with your agents about everything that needs to be covered, because people are coming up, they're very creative. They're very creative in because especially when you're starting off new and they know that you're new, and they take advantage of that. And next thing you know, you're sitting there saying, oh my goodness, like, is your workers' comp policy? Do you have one? Do you have workers' comp and you have employees? You need to get that policy. So there's a lot of things that you need to get with someone and sit down and have a conversation about.
Yes, that's good. Ooh.
We have a lot of exposure. So this is my favorite word. When unfortunately you get into an accident, and let's say that you're unfortunately at fault, people become more hurt when they find out you have things. Because all I got to do is go look it up on the public website. I was like, oh, she owned 3 houses. Now my back is broke and I can't walk right. And people can find the right doctors, the right attorneys, the right chiropractors.
So mitigate your losses.
You need to make sure that what's at risk. What's at risk? That's the conversation we're having. What's at risk?
Protect your assets.
Protect your assets. That's it.
Ooh, I love it, Renee.
You want peace of mind. What's keeping you up at night? Peace of mind.
Ooh, okay. Well, that was a good conversation. I feel like you helped me out a lot. Help a sister out. Woo, yes. But this is this is the real. And unfortunately, you've had to deal with it. I've had to deal with it. And it's like it's not going away anytime soon because we're all getting older.
Yes.
And so now it's like it's time to take it very, very seriously.
Yes.
And unfortunately, COVID is just a name. It is not a death sentence. Correct. It doesn't have to be. Correct. So that's why we got to protect ourselves. Do everything that we need to do that science says. If you need to get a vaccination, get your vaccination. Yes. They say, put your mask on, put your mask on. Wash your hands, wash your hands.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
So these are the things that we can do. We can't sit back and wait and say, oh, well, the government said, or the president said, what was your part in it?
Very true.
Because that's what God is going to ask. He like, well, you said, help me, Lord. And Lord will say, well, I sent you a bus, a train, and a helicopter. And you turned them all down. And now you here. It wasn't your time. Why are you here? Right. And you're gonna be saying, well, Lord, I thought you were going to reach down from heaven to help me. And you're gonna say, sorry, you played the fool. I told you, read my word. And read don't do.
That's so true. That's it.
So, what's your parting words, Renee? I know you got something juicy. Come on and give it to us.
I would say this. You have to, what I call, eat the frog. And eat the frog is when you're uncomfortable. It's just taking that step.
Oh, wow.
You gotta eat what's making you nervous or making you scared. And a lot of times people just don't want to have, being honest, they just don't want to have those discussions.
Yes.
You know, they just, because it's difficult. See, life insurance is here. It's about the heart. So people it's an emotional conversation, which is why we sit down and have that emotional conversation so that we can say what's best for you and your family. So it's not like auto insurance. It's not like getting a homeowner's quote. We got to sit down and have a conversation. Exactly. And it's difficult. So you really do have to eat the frog. You have to eat the frog and step out there and say, you know what, let me talk to someone where I feel I can have this conversation. They can tell me what I need to know. And that's one thing I will say to you. I will be with love, but I'm going to let you know what needs to happen and what you need to do. And this is based upon what you told me. This is what I recommend. But you got to eat the frog and give me the call so we can at least get to that place so that you can have peace of mind.
Ooh, I love it. Because we need peace of mind right about now. We need prayer. We need all of that. Reassurance, assurance. We need to know when I leave this life, where am I going? And is my family going to be okay?
My family going to be okay. That's right.
And so only you can answer that. Because if you do the work, then you have the evidence. You know, it's like you're going on to be with the Lord. And you left your family in good hands. So I love it, Renee. Thank you again.
Thank you.
On and just inspiring us and encouraging us to take the first step.
Take the first step. Eat the frog.
Now I get the metaphor because a frog keeps moving. He keeps jumping. And sometimes it's hard to catch up.
It is.
But when you sit down and say, okay, we're going to have this conversation.
That's right.
I'm releasing all the angst and worries and I'm letting it all go so I can get this information. And that's really all we want you to do. Get the information so you can have peace of mind.
That's it.
Well, doll, I really love you and thank you.
Thank you.
And just spreading a little love. And to my listeners, be inspired by love. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
tuning in to Inspired by Love. Join us every Wednesday for the juice to be inspired. Like, follow, and share this podcast. Be sure to leave a positive rating